everybody. It is Stacey Calder from the Business Success Network and Magazine. And as you're listening to us today, the Business Success Podcast. We're here back for episode number 3 of our mini series, which is Business Success for Disabled Entrepreneurs. And we're doing that because we've set up a fantastic supportive community to help those that would class themselves as disabled entrepreneurs, whatever that looks like to them, or those supporting fellow people. So I'm going to hand you over to Jo, who is our community leader for that group, to introduce herself and then to crack on with introducing our guest this morning.
Thanks, Stacey. Yeah, I'm Jo O'Neill and I run Bright Cat Business Solutions, which is a marketing, virtual assistants and social media management company. I'm also the community leader for the Disabled Entrepreneur Group, which is a really inclusive and amazing space that's just kind of taken off. And I think everybody who sees themselves as disabled or supports that community specifically should come join us. And I'll tell you how to do that later. We're here with a guest today called Vie Portland. And Vie, would you kindly introduce yourself and your business and you?
Of course. Thank you for having me. So I'm Vie Portland. I am a confidence coach and author of inclusive children's picture books and positive growth books for adults. I've compiled books for people with the rare disability I have. I do some motivational speaking and I've just qualified as a trainer. So quite a lot. My business, I'm separating my business into 2 to make it easier for people to understand. So I've got Venus Discover You Love You, which is the work I do with children to boost confidence and self-esteem in them, and vulnerable women as well come into that. And then the other part of the business is going to launch in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, if all goes to plan, and that's VIP empowerment. And that's where I'll do the speaking, coaching women, and the training and things like that.
That sounds fantastic. That sounds like really rewarding. And I'm guessing, yeah, it sounds really rewarding. And I think when you work with children, it is really rewarding, I think, to give them skills that they might not necessarily learn in schools and places like that, just to give them that extra level of care, attention, figuring things out. Fantastic. So which, I've got to ask now, because you mentioned 2 parts, which is your favourite?
I love it all. I really do. And the only reason I'm separating them is because one half is a social enterprise. People seem to expect me to do everything for free or cheap. So I'm separating them so that I have this, no, I am worthy of earning this amount of money and you're going to pay for it because you deserve to pay that amount of money to feel good about yourself. But also, I'm worthy of that. You know, I'm really good at what I do. And so I'm separating it out to make it easier for other people to understand, but really I'm doing everything the same. The training is the only new part, and that's because I qualified 2 weeks ago. So that's the only new part. Thank you very much.
Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see Vie getting a round of applause, and if you're not, then you should just hear us go. Oh dear me, that's brilliant. So we always ask, I mean, that's what made you decide to go into that, to be honest, just before I get on to the next question, which I'm going to do, which is one of my favorites. But what was it that made you go down the, like the coaching, because you spoke so beautifully, then you're like, I'm worthy of this, they're worthy of that. And actually that's a huge topic in business. In fact, there's 2 things you could cover there, and I'm going off on a tangent. I told you I would. So one is that you are absolutely worthy of being paid, and price points can be a real hard thing for business owners when they are starting out. And even as they progress, it's like, I don't know what to charge. I don't know, it can be that level of ickiness, if you like.
Yeah.
But also, you were saying, but I am worthy of that as well. So money and knowing what to charge is definitely one thing. But just the way you spoke about how much you enjoy it, that's kind of another point there, that we all love running our businesses, don't we? Yeah. But there is that difference between getting paid for a service and doing it because we love it.
Yeah, but I do genuinely love it. Everything I do, I'm probably neurodivergent as well as my physical conditions. And I've realized recently that I've always had songs in my head. And I've only learned recently that a lot of people with ADHD always have songs in their head. So anyway, every time I say everything I do, I want to burst into song and have Brian Adams doing backing vocals behind me. But sadly,
We
he's
were
busy.
destined to meet today because luckily my husband's just gone out. Otherwise, he would be jumping into the camera to say, "Oh my God, Stacey Calder, this is you," because I sing everything. If the radio comes on, I sing. If somebody says something, I sing it.
Yep.
Like you just said, you were saying everything I do, and I was already singing Brian Adams' 13 weeks at number 1 or whatever
Yep.
it was. It was there in my
Yep.
brain.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I
I
did
always
not
say I
know.
live in a musical. That's my head. But yeah, everything. I should really try and reword it, shouldn't I? Anyway, everything I do is
We're all
because
singing it now, aren't we?
yeah,
We're all
all swaying for those that can't see us. It's because someone's seen me do it and asked me to do it for them. So it's been incredibly organic, which is wonderful. And it's wonderful that I can use little me, even adult me, up until sort of 15, 16 years ago, had no confidence, no self-esteem. I hid in black and baggy. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't think I was worthy of being seen. And to now get to a point where I can go, yeah, I am worthy. I am good at what I do, is something that little me, younger me, would never have been able to do. And that's what's been lovely throughout, is that people have seen me do something and said, I want to do that too. Will you teach me? And it's all been, like I said, very organic. And yeah, and I have, because I grew up very unhappy and I hated who I was and how I looked, I reached a very low point. So now everything, I have a habit of saying, if someone says, "Vie, you should do this," I'll go, "Yeah, all right then." Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, but only not in a, "Yes, I will take on all of your workload," but in a, "I will never ever say yes to bungee jumping." I know that for a fact.
Absolutely fair.
You heard it here first.
Never. But yeah, a lot of things, it's, I feel that I can't work with my clients and say, you've got to step outside of your comfort zone if I'm not willing to do that too. And everything I do, people say, oh, you've got to do,
Yes.
step out of your comfort zone. It's like I'm living in mine. This is
Exactly.
outside of it.
Like you say, for those watching this on YouTube, that you just talked about black, baggy, and you are so far from that now.
Yeah.
You came into the studio and I went, oh my God, look at the flowers in your hair. They're beautiful. You're very bright, vibrant. And I think that's, like you said, you're walking the walk, you're talking the talk. It's kind of, yeah, you can see you've really
Yeah.
embraced it and you're living with it. That's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Question time then from me, because I love this question and I always ask this. Business success means so many different things to so many different people, whether they are employed, self-employed, whatever. What does it mean to you?
Before I had my last mental health breakdown, which was 15, 16 years ago, I thought it was having lots of money in the bank, doing a 9 to 5, getting promoted. And I'd always worked with children and I'd got myself into a job where there was the scope for promotion, but I am not an office worker. And I thought I could learn, and it just doesn't suit my brain at all. So thank goodness there are people that are good at that sort of thing. So I kept thinking I was continually failing because I wasn't hitting society's standard of what success is. But now, yes, it would be great to have more money in the bank. But for me, business success is not thinking, oh, I've got to work today. For me, it's thinking, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm really excited about it. Because I do so many different things, although they all come under helping people find their fabulous umbrella, I love every bit of it. I don't like the admin side, to be
You're
fair.
not the first person to say that to me. You won't be the
Yeah.
last.
Yeah, that sort of side. But I love teaching, when I run my workshops, I love coaching, the one-to-one stuff. I love talking on stages. I love training. All of it. I just get such enjoyment from all of it. And it's so last week on Thursday, it was World Book Week or World Book Day in World Book Week. So I was in the school all day with the primary school. I was on my feet all day. I was going, and I was talking all day. Friday, I was at the House of Lords because obviously I do that every Friday. No, I don't. It was for an award that I'd recently been chosen for. So I was there. And my face still hurts from smiling so much. My mouth and my throat, due to my first disability, I blister really easily. So my mouth, my cheeks, my tongue, my throat were all really blistered. It hurts to talk. But you can see, I just love what I do so much. And I would, if you said to me, right, go and teach at a school now, yep, all right, then I'm going. And I'd go and I'd do it. And, I always have my trusty difflam nearby and, for whatever I need it for. And yeah, and although I'm generally quite good at sorting out my diary, which is another sign of business success, is that I can say, no, I'm not going to work Wednesdays. I need that day at home or whatever day you choose to have that flexibility. Yeah, I'm going out for lunch with my friend today, or whatever we choose to do. So business success is being able to run the business how I want to, being able to say yes to the things I love, being able to go off for swanning up in London whenever I want, to have time for the hospital appointments that most of us with disabilities have to go to, without having to ask a boss for, can I have another appointment or day off? Thankfully, I've got a really good boss who's very understanding. So, yeah, so it's that is success. I don't feel guilty if I can't work, whereas before in paid employment where I was doing, it was like, am I sick enough to be off? Can I justify this? Whereas now it's like, well, yeah, I can, because it's good for me physically. I mean, it might take more of a strain on me physically, but it's so good for me mentally. And that is the most important thing for me, is if my mental health's well, I can look after all the physical pain. And so the success is doing something I love so that my mental health is far better than it was for the first 3.5 decades of my life.
I love that.
We're kind of like, yeah.
The joy of being self-employed is, you can work around you, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And it took a little while for me to realise that I couldn't do the 9 to 5 anymore, but I wasn't just going to let it defeat me. I had to do something.
Yeah. Well, for me, I was told by several medical people, you're never going to work again. My physical health had got so bad.
On this series before.
Yeah. My mental health had got so bad, and I thought, oh, I don't like that. And that was the kick up the arse I needed to start making things change, because there's always things I can be doing that aren't work, but I love what I do. And what a shame that would have been to not have that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm learning is never tell a disabled person they can't do something.
No, we say, watch me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Becca climbed a mountain on crutches after being told you really shouldn't. You can't do that.
Yeah.
She's special. So that is an amazing thing to have big business success looking like, and it sounds like you're living it, and which is amazing. So what are your plans for the future? Where do you intend to take everything? Where are you going?
Oh, global. Universal.
That was such a force then, wasn't it? That was like, I know the answer to this one. There's no stopping me now. What do you mean we're in the UK? No, we're going global.
I would love to. The plan that I'm working on currently is I would like to do more public speaking, because I do love it. My name is Vie, and I make people cry, then they laugh. They're really, enjoyable sessions. I would love to get into the North American market. So one of the book I wrote for adults, I think the North American market are the best audience for it. And I would like to get my book over there and talk to people and share the stories, because I think that the book for adults, La Vie Belle, is my story of growing up the way I did, why I hated who I was, or how it all impacted on me, and then how I changed it, and then teaching other people how to change it too. And I think, although it's got great reviews from the predominantly UK audience, I think that North Americans are generally more open to having speakers like that and to talking about how they're going to book. Having a therapist is considered more normal there, isn't it? Whereas over here it's still something a lot of people feel, sadly, that they've got to keep hidden. Whereas personally, I've had lots of counselling in my life to get to this point. I think it's an incredible thing. And isn't that brilliant that someone's going to counselling to work on being even better? And we should
Absolutely.
have, we should have that attitude, but a lot of people don't, do they?
And I
In
think it's the
the
same with
UK.
personal development as well. Like we are, people laugh at the
Yeah,
Americans that they're happy, clappy, and they're in a success room. And actually, I've been in those, events in the UK where they
yeah,
say, God, this is a bit American, but I love them because the energy
yeah,
levels have risen. You develop, and look, our ethos down here: grow yourself, grow your business. I'm a big believer if you're
yeah,
personally developing in any sense, whether that's therapy, whether it's counseling, whether it's
yeah,
business development, you are going to increase your awareness of yourself, awareness of those around you. You're just going to be in a much better place.
absolutely. Yeah. And then with that getting paid to do that will enable me to do more of the stuff that I also love in the community. So going into libraries and running my Find Your Fabulous sessions for preschoolers or offering discounted rates to schools and things like that. So yeah, I want to earn big money doing the talking, which I love, so that I can do some of the cheaper stuff for people that can't afford me at that price, so that they still benefit too. To go and stand in a library with 30 kids who are all under 7 singing silly songs and shouting, I love myself, is just brilliant. It's fantastic.
No, because
So,
I'm doing that thing we just talked about now, where I'm now thinking of, oh, I love myself. There's a song there, and I'm not going to sing it because I'd
no,
already
don't.
changed the words.
I
Some
mean, I've
very
got,
well famous song that is not what I'm thinking of.
I've still got Don't Stop Me Now in my head, so
I'm
Oh, excellent.
I'm still dining out on Bryan Adams, I'll be really honest. The only thing I should probably say is that my husband has now entered the room. So he's currently behind this podcast. So if we all start breaking out into a song, he is going to be thinking, what on earth is going on here? Because obviously he missed that last conversation.
No, I'm
But he
expecting a
knows.
backup routine from him.
Yeah.
I've
Not sure
seen
what the routine.
Mr. C on a stage with a guitar.
Yeah, he'd probably, he doesn't mind rocking out to his stuff, but he hates my singing. Nobody wants to encourage that, Vie, honestly. Oh dear. So I love that's your future goal. I think that's amazing. You've talked about your books. Are they on Amazon?
Yeah, they're on all good bookshops online. So Hive,
I think they're
Amazon,
available.
Waterstones, all of those.
So are they available to the American market? You can see where I'm going with this,
Yeah,
can't you? I'm like, there you go.
yeah, they are. And I can proudly say I've got a book on every continent. It's literally one book in some places. There's a book in India, as far as I know. But, that's amazing. And that is mostly so the rare disability I was born with, we've got a wonderful community across the world because there's not many of us. We tend to have people all over. And it's through that mostly that, someone will, oh, we know V, and they'll buy the book, which is great. Um,
That's
Now you
fantastic.
should
And it
get
is a
that.
stepping stone to your global domination goal that you were just talking about, isn't it? So
Yeah.
sounds like you've already got your stepping stones firmly in place, which is fantastic. I've picked up loads from this podcast already, but I am going to ask you the final question that we ask is for a top tip. Now, it could be something that you've kind of lived through and realized this is a great thing to do. It could be a business tip. It could be a life tip. It could be telling me never to sing again. It could just be
never, never. When people ask if I can sing, I say I can hold a tune. It's just sometimes it's in a leaky bucket.
I like that.
You know, it's
Definitely.
hard to come up with just one tip.
You can give us
Um,
several if you want.
oh, okay, right. How long have we got? I think yes, it might even have been in. Oh no, it was in a group for neurodiverse business people, and someone said they were getting overwhelmed. And I think that's common for all of us, neurodivergent or not. And for me, this is very extreme, I know, but I always think, is anyone going to get hurt or die if I don't do this today? And
Yeah.
usually, so far, the answer has been no. So I can cut myself some slack and just go, well, it's better I do it well tomorrow than half-hearted today and have to repeat it anyway. So I think for all of us in the disabled community, but and beyond,
Mm.
is to be able to go, the world's not going to stop if I don't do this today. So I think that's a useful little mantra to have.
That's a really good tip. And I would say, so I've not put it that way before, but I have said to clients, just because somebody emails you with what's urgent on their list doesn't mean it's urgent in your life,
Yeah.
in your list. And it's that boundaries thing, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah.
So that's a really, I like that tip, that you said about, is it life threatening? No. Well, do you know
Yeah.
what? It can wait till
Yeah.
it
And
can wait till the 3 a.m. when we can't
yeah.
sleep or whatever it is, whatever that
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah. And the thing is, you will get people that will hassle you to get their answer because, like you say, it's urgent for them. But if they cannot understand you and appreciate that your health, mental and physical, is more important than hitting their deadline, imposing their deadline on you, then they're not your people. And if they're not decent enough to wait 12, 24 hours, then are they the people you want to work with? Because you would show them the same consideration as well. I mean, I often have people go, I'm really sorry if I haven't managed to do this today. And I will say, that's okay then, as long as we do it soon. And I tend to give people dates. If I do need something by a set time, I will always try and say, it's got to be in that day. So you can do it at any time between now and then, as long as I've got it by then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think our time is precious. And, those of us in the disabled community probably have lost far more people than the average. And we realize that time is short. So why use that time to beat yourself up because you're not meeting others' targets? So,
And that will just slow you down doing everything else as well, because then you just sit
exactly.
there.
Exactly.
I've
Yeah.
been there, and thankfully, I do tend to, when I'm working with clients, I tell them I like to be flexible to you, but I expect the same back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I always try and get things before they're needed. But being chronically ill, you know what it's like. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Life gets in the way, and generally life for normal people. I've had
Yeah.
people like apologise to me and everything. It's like life happens. Come back to me when you're ready.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's the reason there's the saying, isn't it? Life happens when we're making other plans.
Yeah.
We can plan and plan, but we can't prepare for, illness or accident or vet trips or doctor trips or whatever. We can't plan for those because they happen when they happen. Mm.
That's a fantastic tip. I really love that. I've really enjoyed speaking to you today, Vi. I know Jo will have as well, because you've been a really active member of the BSN community since we've found you and you found us. So we've really enjoyed that.
Well, I think it's an
Where
important group. So,
Thank you. I'm really pleased. And the thing is, it's only going to get better as people contribute, they engage, more people come in, different topics. I don't like the term safe space. I'll be really honest. I think it's overused a bit sometimes, but it is, it's a friendly, nice environment where, anything kind of, there's not a lot of real rules, be kind, be courteous, that kind of thing. But actually, it's just having that mutual respect, and any conversation can happen in there, can't it?
yeah. And I think lip service is like people that saying a safe space is lip service to it sometimes, isn't it? But it's like people who say they're fully accessible. It's like, well, you can't be. it's just impossible to be fully accessible because we've all got different needs, you know. But to have that space where people are encouraged and are supported, and with people that won't judge you. I know that in non-disabled networking groups, if I put I don't work before 11 if I can help it. Oh, aren't you a bit lazy? It's like, no, I'm not.
Listen,
No, I'm not.
like I said before, I do not class myself as disabled, but there are still preconceptions about things, about people. Like I said, I talk quite a lot. I do a lot of speaking about being a woman in business, things like that. And I've had people say to me before, you can't possibly run a business because you've got 5 children. You can't possibly you will not be focused on your work. And I'm thinking, if you want something done, ask a busy person, you know. And mothers have to plan within an inch of their life. So don't give that. So I am always championing the underdog, the person that would, if they post in one of my groups and say, I don't work before 11, I'd be like, wait, right, tell me about this then. Because,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I don't want to work till 11 either.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we all, and that's the joys of being self-employed. We do
Absolutely.
it around our own services, our own,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
circumstances. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
So you asked
All
where
the
you can find me.
I'm going to
Didn't
ask where we
you?
can find you. We went off on a tangent again. I do
We
it.
did. I was paying attention though. A
You
point for me
were.
there.
You were
I
keeping
listened
me
and
on track.
remembered.
No, you were keeping me on track. I told Joe to keep me on track as well. So, is it a website? Is it a community group? Social
Yes.
media? You tell us. Where can they find you?
Well, I've got the social enterprise is Venus, VIENES, Discover You, Love You. The website's www.venus.co.uk. Hopefully, the wempowerment for VIP empowerment will be launched this week sometime. So that would be www.vipempowerment.co.uk. And there are groups on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm generally easy to find because V is not a proper name. I made it up myself. So I'm generally the only one there. So I'm quite easy to find.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today and for being part of mine and Joe's community. Like I said, I think Joe, we've had so many conversations about, you know, oh, it's okay, we'll get to 100 members. Oh, we're going to do 120. And then, you know, we're behind the
200
scenes
now,
going,
isn't it?
yeah.
210 last time I looked.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it was Sunday night. We were on about 198 and we both sit there going, come on, number 200. So it gets a bit addictive. It really does when you're building communities. But thank you for being such an engaged member. I know it just makes mine and Joe's job so easy, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it when people engage. It's like there's nothing worse than a post with no answers or no comments. That didn't work. But yeah, I love how engaged everybody is and how active everybody is. And if they want advice or just say I'm feeling crap, they do, and it's amazing.
Yeah. But I think that's the important part of a safe space, though, isn't it? It's like if you're, and I'm very much what goes around comes around. So I think I can't expect people to engage with me if I'm not willing to engage with them. So, you know, that's why I will join in on conversations, or even if I just heart something to get the likes up because I've got nothing to say on the matter. Highly unlikely that I've got nothing to say. I've always got something to say. But, you know, on that occasion, it's important. If we want these groups to succeed, whether they're our own or other people's, you get out what you put in, don't you?
Absolutely. I could talk to you all day, V. I really could. I think, you know, speaker to community builders, we are, we could, couldn't we, Joe? We could literally go and on and crack back on. But we need to finish because otherwise we'll be getting told off that we've talked far too long for a podcast and we want to keep everyone's attention. So do go and check out V. Go and find her on socials. Go and find her websites. Go and see which part of that story resonates with you and get in touch with her. Or head over. Joe, where can they find you?
Come over to Facebook and search for the Business Success Network for Disabled Entrepreneurs, and you will find us and come and join us.
There we go. You will indeed, and you'll know you're there because you will see Jo's face in the cover banner. If you want to find out more about the Business Success Network in general, we have 8 communities now. So there's lots of different ones. You might think, oh, I fit into 2 or 3. That's absolutely fine. You might think one is just for you. So head over to businesssuccessnetwork.co.uk. Have a look what's available. Come and join us for some online networking or some face-to-face. Get on board. We love to get you in on the podcasts and things as well. There's lots of stuff going on. And if you've not yet entered the awards, you need to enter the awards too. Had to get that in, didn't I? Right, folks. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait to hear more about your future plans, Faye.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining.
Everyone.